Hello everyone and welcome to LSI F1 Championship. We're today for the USA Grand Prix. Yes, that's right, we're in sync with the F1 calendar. The USA Grand Prix Austin COTA, as some may say. Personally, I like this track. A lot of people, not so much, but we have a sprint race as well, actually, I should say, which is going to make things much more exciting. Obviously, qualifying, it does matter, but not as much. You just need to get a somewhat good position in qualifying to get into that sprint race. Once you get into that sprint race, if you can just focus on the race pace, be consistent, stay out of trouble, you are going to start the feature race where the big points are much higher up the order. And it's going to be part of the strategy today on how aggressive people go, of course. It's high risk, high reward. That's what we should say. Safety car's not entirely sure how likely a safety car will be. We've got Luke setting the initial pace of 33.4. We've got Zingy coming round the final corner. Goes off track a little bit, manages to keep it valid. Heisler at 34.6. Zingy comes across the line. The current championship leader goes a tenth quicker. Oh, I'd say half a tenth actually. Half a tenth quicker than Luke's there, so lovely job. Luke actually is a permanent driver for Williams, should note that, so I do apologise for not updating that. Niffer 34.0, and then we have Igor setting a 43, so made a bit of a mistake there. We've got Robbo, of course, a reserve driver today, followed by, this is Vel, the other reserve driver. We've got Strat in the Haas. They are a new permanent driver for Haas. Ream is no longer, so Strat is now going to be in Haas. Looking for the constructors, maybe? This is, it could be possible. Haas were pretty strong before, and they're going to be pretty strong now. Of course, this is Vel. They will score points today. They are allowed to qualify. So, let's see what they can do. I do want to just quickly update them on something a minute, because I'm not entirely sure if they actually know that they are allowed to qualify or not. Alrighty, we should be good to go. Sorry for the delay. Now, I would say let's go into a track guide, but I kind of forgot the corner numbers, so I'm going to try my best. I know a couple corners. I think that's... this is 11, right? This is turn 11 on the exit of the hairpin. And then we go down the straight. DRS available on the back straight. This is going to be the most popular place to actually get an overtake done. And then we head down to turn 12. Got to be careful as you ride to the curb on the outside. You want to ride it into the braking zone, but not like you used to on the 21 game where you'd ride it all the way. Unfortunately, this film makes a bit of a mistake. They invalid in the end. They do still have time to go. We've got 11 minutes to go of this session, so there's no rush at all. Looks like the two Haas's are trying to give each other a bit of a tow. Maybe not. Nope, they're just close to each other on track at the moment. Just looking for a position. Not anything to worry about at the moment. But yeah, we'll see. This is Vale is going to probably go in, I'd say. And let's go, go out again in a little bit. We've got Quibus and Strat on lap, so we'll watch on board with Strat. They are ahead at the moment. And we're about to get our first lap of the session underway. And I'll try my best. Here we go. Out the penultimate corner. Getting warmed up. Ready to come out the final corner now. Trying to get that throttle on smooth as possible in fourth gear. Very slippery, though, as they manage to just about keep it together. Going up the hill, actually riding this curve, which is going to be interesting. As you go up the hill, working together with that gradient. It slows the car down nicely, getting as tight as you can to the right-hand side here, minimise the track distance now to the S section. It's almost flat in this game. The first, the second one, the third one, almost got a slight lift. Now you brake into the fourth one, around the right-hander, once again keeping it as close as you possibly can. Short shifting just a little bit, slowly going down the gears as we go up the hill. Don't want to go too low, you'll lose the traction, but they keep it together nicely. Now we head towards the back straight. Heavy braking once again, try and cut that hairpin. Just miss it a little bit too much, but it's not too much of a worry. They still got a tidy corner right there. DRS available now. Just keep it as straight as possible as they possibly can. Minimise the track distance as always. And are they going to ride the curb here? No, they're going to wait to the braking zone. Now they go onto the curb. And once again, hit that hairpin as much as you possibly can. You can gain so much time by doing so. Now into the third sector, purple middle sector there from Strat. As keep it smooth on the throttle, straighten up the car, aim it towards the outside of the corner to get the brakes on and get ready to go for the next one. And now to the final sector now. Final few corners, I should say. The double right-hander, triple right-hander. And I've messed that ending up. But it is what it is. Now come around the final corner now. What's it going to be? Just one more corner to go. Keep it smooth on the throttle. The most difficult part of the circuit, the final corner. And that's a P4 there. Quibus will come across the line there, teammate. What will they set? A P7 there. So they've maybe made a little bit of a mistake, but nothing too much to worry about at the moment. Alrighty, 8 minutes and 50 seconds to go on the clock at the moment. We've got a couple drivers out on track at the moment as well. Eisler is on a lap right now. They are in P6, looking to try and push themselves up the order. We've seen them do very well, especially in the F1.5 tier. They just need to... Oh, this isn't ideal. Got a bit of traffic once again. We saw them get traffic in Hungary. This one wasn't so bad, but they've invalidated. Probably got a bit distracted from that one, so they're not going to be happy with that at all. Unfortunately there for Hajler. Alrighty. Looking further down the order, we've got Robbo, who is coming around the final corner now to set a lap time, unless they're starting one. Across the line they go, and they spin across the line, and they didn't even get the lap in. I was saying that. It's one of the most difficult parts of the circuit. You've got that final little part to go to set that lap. And it really is. I'm not even being sarcastic. It's such a difficult part of the circuit. You just want to get that throttle down, but you can't. Ruleton, purple first sector right here. Let's see what they can do in that lovely livery. They had a pretty hard time back in Hungary, of course. Fighting the Dougie Falcons didn't go the way they wanted it to, and they lost the podium after all. Unfortunately, we couldn't really do anything about that. Just hopefully that doesn't happen again in a similar manner, and hopefully we can get some good clean racing. Yet hard. We would like to see that. Of course, Ruleton now has another opportunity here, and of course with the sprint race they have two opportunities to try and get a podium, maybe even a win here. They won back in the Netherlands, their first ever win in LSI. Let's see if they can try and get another one. Well, unfortunately, it is not. I hate to say it, but we just don't see it suitable at the moment. There's way too many bugs as it is. And then, of course, it doesn't actually let you invite people on crossplay through your friends list. So, not ideal. Ruleton P4, a 34.0, very, very close. Is Nifo, Ruleton, and Nifo and Ruleton, sorry. It's like 100th in it almost between those guys. Zingy still leads the way. The top two is Zingy and Luke. We have Luke about to come across line once again to try and improve. Is this going to put them on pole position? It could well do. Round the final corner, there we go, across the line, and it is a provisional pole, 33.1. Zingy's going to have to improve around about 3 to 4 tenths if he wants to get that pole position back, and probably a bit more if he wants to defend from it, because we still got a lot of time to go in this session. They go purple in that middle sector, so it's looking promising right now into the final few corners. Really smooth on the throttle here. You can gain a lot of time with all these corners around, and unfortunately that's Nifo in the background there, as you can see them off, but it's not going to distract Zingy as he gets through the right-hander nice and smoothly. Keep it as far as possible on the right, on the exit curve. Maximize the track that you possibly can. Get that time in, and across the line they go, and it is a provisional pole, 32.9, 4 tenths up as we needed them to do. And we are into the 32s now. Luke has to find a bit more time if he wants to try and get there. He's going to have to look for about 2 tenths if he wants to try and fight for a pole position here. Ruleton is on their way in. Yes, okay. On their way in. As expected. Lovely stuff. This is Vale is on a lap or an out lap. They'll start it or finish it. They're going to start a lap here as they go around the final corner. And we'll watch on board with... This is Vale up into turn 1. Sorry for the delay. Checking everything's all good with the drivers, but unfortunately, a couple issues. All good. All good to go at the moment. This is Vale. Fairly tidy. It is their first lap though, so they just want to try and get a banker and they'll get another opportunity for one more lap, although it is a fairly long lap, I'd say, so they don't have too much time to go at this stage in the qualifying session. Luckily though, it is a sprint, so they don't really need to worry about it. They have set a 54, but I don't know if it's really counted because it didn't actually come up with a sector time in the first sector to compare to. So, yeah, that's a bit of a strange one, but it is what it is. This is Vale into the final few corners of the second sector, crossing the delta line now, and it's a minus 18.4. So they are going a lot quicker than before, but they've just got a few more corners to get this lap complete, of course. Around the final few corners, let's see, keeping it as tight as you possibly can, as flat as you can, but it's not completely flat in qualifying, of course. In time trial, yes, but in qualifying in the race, it's not so easy to do. They still get it nicely tidy through, but a bit of a lock-up at the final corner, going to lose them a lot of time for that one. Across the line they'll go, and then P9 in the end, so not ideal there for this as well. We have got Quibus on a lap. I think we might have Egapro on a lap as well. We'll see what these guys can do. Quibus, of course, in the technical section, really going to be tricky on the tyres on the rear, especially as you exit right about here. You're going to have to be really smooth, especially with that exit curb. You've got the big sausage curves, which will unsettle the car. If you ride over those, it's game over. You have to lift off the throttle or you are done. Egapro are 34.5, unless they've already set that. And they're going on a lap now, if it might have been a bug. Across the line we go with Quibus, though. Very tricky on the exit, but they do improve up to a P5, a 34.1. I'm not sure if that's going to be the last lap that they can set, because there's not too much time left in this session. And Quibus, I think he's waiting for his teammate, maybe, unless Stra's on a lap already. They're improving by a few tenths. Bit of mistake as they turn in too early into that final corner. Across the line now, P3, lovely stuff. Brilliant lap there, a 33.9 to push themselves into P3, but still, the top two are in a league of their own, and they're not even out on track yet. Zingy is on their way to try and set one final lap. Luke, not sure if they're actually going to go for it or not. They're running out of time here. Quibus, of course, they're not going to get another lap. And we've got a couple drivers on out laps right now. We've got Egapro, who is on a lap right now, but they made a mistake. They might get another one in just about, but it's going to be tricky with those hot tyres. They still have a bit of time here, but ERS-wise, they've got to really try and save in this final sector if they want to do so. We have Eichler on a lap. We've got Robbo on an out lap. We've got everybody on their way to try and set a couple final laps. Looks like we'd have to go on with Rouleton to get the next valid lap. So we'll see. Of course, both Haas's, I believe, have set lap times right now. Alrighty. I've been told that saying alrighty is annoying. I do apologise. It's just something that I say to fill the gap when I have to go for a drink. So yeah, don't worry, it's not an alcoholic drink, it's just water, I promise. Gin. No, it's water. Alright, Rouleton is going to come around the final few corners. Let's see what they can do. Let's get it, Rouleton in the McLaren, looking to try and push themselves up the order for the final time. We will go around the USA circuit with Rouleton in qualifying up to turn 1, up the hill, braking as late as they possibly can. Use the track, as we said earlier on, start retired from the sessions. They will not set another lap time, keeping it as far right as they possibly can, almost going to the right-hand side of the curb. You really want to try and hook it round to get that rotation. Lovely stuff as they go through, downshifting, trying to get off the throttle to use the car's setup to turn you through the corner. using the curbs as well. Slowly get back onto the throttle, nice and purple through the first sector there for Rouleton as they come into turn 11. Heavy braking, locking up, missing the apex a little bit, unfortunately. DRS will be available to try and catch it back up. Let's see if they have a high straight line speed set up to try and make back that time that they just lost from that lockup. Hopefully they'll be alright. Once again, riding this curb, it's not going to be the quicker way around the circuit unless they've got a higher ride height, of course, but it does bottom out the car and you will lose a lot of speed. So Rouleton up by almost a tenth and not looking that ideal still, though. This would be an improvement by a position, maybe even two, if they can get a bit more into the final sector here. Can Rouleton go P3 at the end of qualifying now? Come around the final few corners, the penultimate corner, momentum is high, very close to the track limits, round the final corner. What's it gonna be? Going wide over the curves, they don't invalidate, they can still get it done, and they do go P3 after all that, and that's actually a lot closer than I thought. Zingy will not improve. Will Luke take pole position here at USA? One more corner to go and it will decide it. Is it going to be possible? Yes, it is! Luke takes pole position! He takes pole position! What a job there! Eisler comes around the final corner to see if they can change anything. They do push themselves up into P7, but what a man! Luke is on pole position for Williams. Yes, it's a permanent drive at Williams. Williams are on the top spot. It's been a while since these guys have been ahead, but well done. Indeed, this is Luke in P1 there. That is amazing to see. What a legend. Zingy just missing out. The margins are absolutely minuscule right there. Rouleton actually did a great job in that final sector. I didn't realise they must have had a big issue the lap before, and they were a lot closer than I thought, of course, making that big mistake in the final corner, though. Luke takes pole position, Zingy in P2, and Rouleton in that P3 position. This is the rest of the grid, and then we'll skim through the drivers and incident section just in case we need to later on, and then we will be back for the sprint race. Yes, the sprint race. Ready? Hold. Go! Who's gonna get it into turn one? Looks like a pretty good start from Zingy. Will he get the run? No! Big crash as Geisler's off. Goes defensive to the inside. Does Luke. Zingy tries to take it the long way round. He won't get the momentum. There's damage off somebody else behind. I don't know what happened there. Zingy is the inside line. They're gonna have to back off, and Luke holds on to the lead on lap one. What a job as Niffo almost getting challenged into the S section by EagerPro. They have to back off that damage for the Haas driver as well. They had damage up into turn one. Not off the start line though, as Niffo is going to get challenged now, or they're challenging the Haas driver of Stra. Will Stra be able to fight it back? I don't know. The other Serbian of EagerPro trying to have a look, but they have to back off slightly just in case. One Serb versus the other, but it's not going to be possible just at the moment. And what a start there from Niffo making that move. Very good job. Zingy, Luke, they lead the way. No move going to be sent right now. They're going to wait for that DRS, of course. The circuit like this, you need to kind of do that. Ruleton trying to get with these guys so they can have a nice train going on. Nifo really doing well off the start, I have to say. We have Shah in P5, Eager Pro right there as well. All of the medium tyres, everybody, right now. And Robbo right behind. They can't find a way through yet, as there's a bit of a risky moment there for Eager Pro, and they're sending it up on the inside. What a move! What a move from Robbo there. Eager Pro makes the mistake, catches himself napping as Robbo goes through, sends it on the inside. That was a very good one. That was a really good move there for Robbo. Vale, unfortunately, into the pit lane. I think that might be part of the damage onto lap 1. Quibus also in the pit lane, and Heister also in the pit lane. 3 drivers not doing too well on the first opening lap, but they can still get some qualifying positions for the rest of this race. Zingy very, very close behind the Williams at the moment, just trying to maintain the gap until they get to that DRS stage of the race, of course. Purple through the first sector as well, so they're looking very, very quick. The question is, can you get a good enough run on the first part of the sector to get a move? We'll have to wait and see, as Luke will lead the way on lap 2 as we head down the back straight. Zingy's so close, and I reckon he's going to have a look at a move here. He's slowly closing, probably not even using too much ERS, maybe using a bit now to try and secure the move as they do take the lead. But no, Luke's going to challenge around the outside. They're going to have to back off and let it go for now. Are they going to try and get it back on the inside? They just do a bit of a fake, forcing Zingy to leave the space, but a mistake on the rear. Ruleton was close there. They weren't able to make the move. They still stick their nose, and they get a 3-second by doing so. I don't believe it. No way did that just happen. Ruleton a little bit eager to try and get the move done as Luke makes a slight mistake, and that is going to give all the confidence in the world to Zingy, who is now in clean air for the first time in this race. Lap 3 out of 10 begins, and Zingy go fastest. What a job from Zingy there. He makes the move, and he's got, like I said, all the confidence in the world. Ruleton in P3. We got Nifo sitting in P4. Can't really do anything at the moment. Just doing a bit of a train. And we got Stra in P5, who also the same. Robbo the same. Eager Pro the same. And everybody else, the bottom 3, of course, just trying to get into this race. They're actually fighting for 1 point this as well. They could get a point here. They are on the other set of mediums, though. So luckily their crash was on lap 1. They still have a pretty good set of mediums for the race, but you will use the second set of mediums if you're not careful, because it is what we use for the feature race. Now, Zingy leads the way. DRS will be available for the first time this race, as Luke will try his best to catch up, but I don't think it's going to be really enough at the moment. A 6/10 gap is going to be pretty hard to actually fight with. Anybody else is closer. I don't think they are. Everybody's just sat there waiting at the moment. This guy's going to try and look for another epic move that he just did. It's not even his tier, taking a bit of a risk by doing so, but it was clean. It was clean, so he got it done. Well done to him. It was very, very good, showing us what he can do, of course. Future winner for the F1.5 EU Championship, I bet. We just have to wait and see, of course. If they can show that they have this place tomorrow, then they'll have a very good shot at it. Stra in P5, as I said, just sat in a bit of a sticky situation at the moment. Zingy goes once again fastest. And at the moment, the top 2, they're pretty evenly spread out. 8/10, 7/10 now, splitting the lot, and they can't really do anything about it. It's all just a DRS train, and we're on lap 4 of the 10. It's not even towards the end of the race. So I think we're just about managing the car, the tyres, the energy as well, until the final few laps to then try and push for some moves. But obviously, if you're in a good position, you don't really want to push too hard. If you're in the top 3, you're probably not really going to want to push too hard. Nifo might want to try and push for that top 3, of course, but they would be on the second row of the grid. However, Strat and Robbo, they would want to try and push, although Strat has unfortunately lost the DRS section, the DRS range, I should say, from the cars behind, and that will put them vulnerable to the likes of Robbo and Eager Pro, who is also fairly close. No one going to be going for a move at this stage of the race once again, so Stra does have an opportunity to try and catch back up to the train ahead, but they don't have too long. Just a little bit of time, and this is Vale makes a mistake, and that will allow Quibus to get an extra point here in P8. He could look at a point here. That is not what we want to see from this is Vale. And Nifo's made a mistake. I don't believe it. I didn't see that one happen. On the exit, just before the fast right-hander, their tyres are going to be absolutely baking, so they've got to take caution through the right-hander. They can still look at a point here, or 2 points, I should say. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. And they can still look at an okay quali position. Not what they want, of course. They just have to relax, wait for the tyres to cool, and then get back into this one. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. They'll be alright. If they just give it a time to breathe, half a lap, your tyres will cool down, and you'll be good to go. Back into this race. Just try and put the laps in. The gap is 7 seconds. You might be able to catch up if somebody else has the time penalty, of course, ahead of you. Ruleton getting a second one there, so that's not ideal for Ruleton. Oh, and that was another spin for Nifo. Unfortunately, really struggling on these tyres at the moment. But they still have the feature race to go. Bit of a moment there for Robbo as he gets a bit of over-rotation through the corner, which ruins his run. And Stroud will get a nice opportunity to have some clean air. Ruleton, however, very, very close to the back of Luke, racking up those time penalties, though. So Ruleton's got to be extremely careful here. They really do, because if they're going to look at extra time penalties, then they're not going to gain the position. As Luke makes a mistake, they go defensive to the inside line. Will Ruleton get a switch back? I don't think they will. Luke's just about done enough there, but a little bit of a twitchy moment, trying to catch back up to Zingy, but it's not enough, and Zingy is running away with this. An absolute legend of the circuit right now. Ruleton might have another opportunity, but they've really got to try and calculate it. Taking a lock up into the final corner will not help them, and it will just ruin their run. No one's going to be making any moves, and Igapro has made a mistake, unfortunately, so that does leave Robbo a bit more margin to make a mistake, of course, if he's trying to push for a move on Strad. But, you know, at this stage of the race, would you just want to try and secure the position, of course? Now, looking at this guy, oh, Igapro unfortunately making another mistake. That's going to lose them the position to Nifo. Those two are going to be fighting for that one there. But looking at this guy right now, we know that he's very good on the brakes, but we know he's even better on the throttle. And by being so smooth on the throttle, a circuit like this where you really need to work on the short shifting and the throttle application, he is going to be absolutely dominant. I'm not surprised that this is happening at the moment. He's just going to be extremely consistent. At the moment, he doesn't need to worry about anything other than the track limits. Of course, maybe turn one if he's not careful. But right now, Zingy is absolutely commanding this race. Doesn't need to risk anything. It's not like he's got it easy. The gap isn't... It's fairly big. It's fairly big, but it's not big enough to make a big mistake. So they still have to keep it consistent, and they can't push too hard. Vale unfortunately making another mistake. They're struggling with the car in the sprint race. Still, like I said, they do have the feature race, and they will be good to go. That was a ghost car of Luke there, interestingly. Not entirely sure why they were ghosted, but they're back into this one, and maybe they can have another opportunity. Well, maybe they can continue the fight, I should say, with Ruleton. Ruleton has that time penalty, so at this stage Ruleton might want to just secure a P3, because it's going to be extremely difficult to actually go any further. Do you get 3 seconds in this? 6, so you do get 3 seconds. They've got 2, so they've got 6 seconds at the moment. They just want to try and stay ahead of course, Stra. So ideally for Ruleton, they do make the move, actually, as long as they know that they're faster. If they're not, then they're going to be in a bit of a difficult situation, of course. Stra, he wants to try and get within that time penalty range of Ruleton. They just need to be within 6 seconds, so they're going to get the move. So would Robbo, just about, I would say. But we'll have to wait and see how that pans out in a little bit. Lap 7 out of 10. Not too many more to go already on the sprint. This is Vale retired from the session, and that will be them starting last. going from a point at the end there, even after the troublesome start, to none at all. So they're just going to have to try and focus on the feature race, of course. Now, Rouleton might have an opportunity. They are the closest right now. Robbo, unfortunately, he's had an issue and all of a sudden dropped off the pace. So maybe their tyres have died a lot harder than we thought, and Stra has just been able to keep on top of that. So yeah, not entirely sure what happened there, but Robbo was so close, but yet so far now, as they can see the Haas up ahead, but it's not enough. Once again, the closest battle, though, is Luke and Rouleton, who are just at the moment in a bit of checkmate. Rouleton's got a hope. Ooh, retired car on the circuit there, not ideal, but nothing to worry about too much. Rouleton's got a hope that Luke doesn't slow them down too much. Of course, they will get the move on Robbo now, as Robbo does have that 3-second gap to Stra, so they would get that move done, at least on Robbo. Now, Luke might have a chance here to try and get a move on Zingy. Zingy's gone and got himself a 3-second. I said he needed to be careful about that, but he hasn't been so. A little bit naughty there for Zingy. Luke in P2 at the moment. They just have to try and stay ahead, but no, Rouleton is going to fight it all of a sudden, and that's heartbreak for Luke. Luke's going to be furious with that one. Rouleton has no reason to fight this. No reason to fight this whatsoever, as Luke will now possibly miss out of a podium. They're 9/10 back. And Luke, he just needed to try and find a little bit more time, and he could have possibly got back to the top spot, and that would have been a win for the sprint race. But now, Rouleton is ahead, and all of a sudden, Luke has dropped back a little bit. Rouleton's absolutely rapid through that final corner. As we saw in qualifying, of course, they were absolutely sending it into that final sector, I should say. But now they do have the DRS, so they'll be able to catch back up a little bit. Not massive amount on the straight, but somewhat enough. Now, let's see what Rouleton can do here compared to Luke. 4/10 is the gap as we'll go through the S sections. Got clean air, so you can fully send it. Very, very, very twitchy on the rear, but very quick for Luke as well as he sends it through. Gains 2/10. Now loses it on the exit just a little bit, but not too much, just a 10th. Now we're back to 4, now to 5/10. No surprise though in the high, dirtier sections of the circuit, of course. It's a very difficult circuit to follow behind a car ahead. But now they get a very long DRS straight on lap 9. Will they save here, or will they try and go for the move immediately? Go for the move immediately is what they will do, as they have the inside line. Rouleton is just going to have to sit behind at the moment. They're not going to be able to get that ascend. As Luke says, thank you very much, I'll take that back. There's no need for this. Stra in P4, not going to be close enough to get to Luke, of course, with no time penalties for either driver. They will get a move on Rouleton. Robbo, unfortunately, will not get that move on Rouleton. Good news for Rouleton, though. He will maintain that second row on the grid, of course. As a big extension there for Rouleton, as they're struggling in that dirty air at the moment. Zingy comes around the final corner to start. Lap 10. There you go, lap 10 of the sprint race, the final lap to go, and then that will be the qualifying or the starting grid for the feature race, of course. Right now, the grid is looking like Zingy, Luke, Rouleton, Stra, Robbo, Nifo, Egapro, who's made a bit of a mistake, unfortunately. And then we have Heisler, who is about 20 seconds behind him, 30 seconds, I should say. So he's not actually going to get a challenge there. And then Quibus, of course, quite a way behind them. So there's not really going to be too much challenges going on at the moment. And Zingy is only extending his time, his gap at the moment by more and more. Absolutely dominant right now, so really good stuff. Rouleton will have their final shot at glory. They'll get their final shot of a move. It's gonna be possible. Luke will try and hold on, but it's not really that worth it with the time penalties, of course, as they're just gonna have to let it go. Rouleton will take that position, but Luke will finish in P3 as long as he stays behind, of course. That is final corner. Not going to try anything cheeky. Yes, he will. He's going to try. He's going to try and send it to the inside. Not really worth the risk, but he tried his best. I rate the effort. Ruleton will maintain the position, but this guy comes around the final few corners, and what a legend from P2 now to P1. He'll start the feature race from pole position. Ziggy wins the sprint race for the USA Grand Prix, and we'll have Ruleton crossing the line in P2, but Luke will take that P2 in the end. Ruleton P3. We've got Stra taking P4 on debut there. It is the sprint race, so really well done. They take that P3 after all, of course, with Ruleton dropping to P4. Robbo in P5 in the end, and then we have Nifo taking that P6, although they might lose it here to Eager Pros. They're just trying to get the car turned around on the circuit. I think they will just about manage that position, just going to be smooth on the throttle, and they will take that, of course. And then Eager Pro P7, Heisler will take that P8, that final point as well for the finishers. And then Quibus will take the P9 after all. Alrighty, that is the sprint race done. First one down, second one to go. The Grand Prix is almost on its way. We're going to have some very interesting strategies to go, I'm sure. But that was the USA Grand Prix. Alrighty, just got Quibus to go to cross the line. And then we will have a quick look at the results. Robbo takes driver of the day. Zini takes the win, Luke in P2 and Strat in P3. Now I just want to have a quick look at the sprint results right here. As of course Ruleton, Robbo, Nifo, Eager Pro, Heisler, Quibus, and this is Vel DNFing. Race director, once again the game hasn't fixed it, so unfortunately we won't be able to see the race director, and we'll have to rely on the drivers getting the race director for themselves if they need to report anything. Other than that, we'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready? Hold. Go! go. Who's going to get it into turn one? Will Zingy get it this time? And he will. Big bog down for Luke. As Bruleton has the inside line. Going to back off to try and take the lead. They're just going to focus on P2 right now. The Haas goes a bit squirmy over the curb, but they managed to keep it together. Luke tries to have a look back to see if they can retain it, but no. Ruleton is up into P2 after that one. Niffo up to P3. A mega start from them. And Strad down to P5, unfortunately, after that one. And no. What happened there? Robbo, DSQ didn't realise that the race was starting. They're out. I don't believe it. Niffo, of course, struck Heisler right behind there as we have Quibus on the inside line. Eager Pro trying his best to get the move, but it's not possible. As that's a mistake there from Zingy. And Ruleton will take the lead if the USA Grand Prix. Zingy might lose another position if he's not careful. No, Luke is way too far back for a move, and Zingy will just have to wait for that one. Quibus and Eager Pro switching positions, as that is this is Vale also trying to make a move or something here right here, but no, they've disconnected, and Eager Pro has made a mistake, so they lose a bit of time. They can still catch up to the grid ahead though, of course. Ruleton leads the way, a really good start for them. Well done indeed. And then we have a bit of a switch up as Heisler unfortunately makes a mistake on the right-hander, and that's going to cause them big trouble. Ruleton leads the way as we head to lap 2 though, and we have Zingy in P2, wants to try and get that back, but not quite possible. Unfortunately, this is Vale's had to leave. Their internet connection isn't quite working. And also, Robbo, it wasn't that they were AFK, it was that their wheel wasn't working. So we're going to have to investigate that one after the race. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about that now, which is a terrible shame. Now, Zingy, once again, losing or not being in P1 on the opening lap of the race. So, not ideal starts for them. Ruleton got a great start, of course, going from P4 up immediately to P2, and then they take the lead of the race for the first time this weekend. DRS won't be available just yet, so Zingy's going to have to wait at the moment. Luke has a great opportunity here. They can just hold on and wait for a battle to find itself in a little bit. Is Ruleton on that medium tyre? Yes, they are. Zingy is on the hard tyre, so that will explain why Ruleton's so aggressive on the start, of course. They need to make this tyre work, and we'll expect to see them a little bit later on. Luke currently sat behind Zingy there on the same strategy, so they need to ensure that they stay with Zingy here. Niffo is in a similar position. Oh, Luke makes a mistake in that, off big time into the wall. They managed to keep it together, but that is a big one. That is nasty for Luke. Nasty stuff for Luke there. A big snap on the right-hander, and they're going to have to just get back onto the circuit, and then they will be good to go. No damage, although there might be a slight bit of damage that they have to wait a 10-second time penalty. That will be removed, although it might force them to serve one, unfortunately, as they cross the pit line by accident, as they miss their braking point. Their damage is maybe a little bit just misjudged there, unless they don't have damage. It was quite a light tap with the wall. Ruleton running away with this one. Now there's a big gap in between, of course, Niffo and Zingy, as Luke does give up, which is surprising at this early on in the race, but never mind. That was a podium gone. Niffo in P3 now, so they're gifted that podium. Stroud will be behind them, although currently they're in a very good position. Not too far away from Zingy, not too close though at the moment, as we have Stra just sat there. Quibus, of course, right behind him, and then we have Eager Pro sitting in a P4. This is Vale is not actually taking part in this race, and they will be classed as a DSC. And then we have Heisler, who will be catching up to the grid. They just need to try and get back into this race. They will, of course, automatically take that position over this as Vale. It's just about if they will get towards Eager Pro, Quibus, and the rest of the grid pretty much. Will we have a safety car? Not quite so likely around a circuit like this that's so open. And of course, we're only 8 drivers in this race, but we can still Expect the unexpected, of course. Zingy sat in P1 right now, P2 I should say. Ruleton sat in P1, and nothing Zingy can do about it. They just have to let Ruleton run away. They weren't able to defend enough in the early stages, and they may be thinking, you know what, I'm on the superior strategy. There's not really anything to worry about at the moment. I can let them go. I can afford to let them go. I just have to make sure that I don't lose any time to the rest of the field, and also don't risk anything. You know, they're leading the championship. They have everything to lose, not too much to gain. Of course, in this race they can gain the lead, but of course with the strategy that they have every chance of getting that win back. It's just Ruleton at the moment has the upper hand for the start of this race. Nifo, not too confident going into this race, of course. This weekend they don't really like this circuit, but right now, of course at the start of the sprint race as well, they were doing very well. They're very, very close to Zingy, but just not close enough to get into that DRS range. They just need to keep it careful on that throttle. Like I said, the short shifting is going to be absolutely key around this circuit. They've just got to try and keep the momentum. That will also be key here. I did some practice before. I know, yes, I do practice for the races. I managed to get into a bit of tunnel vision where I was just fully focused. Lap after lap, do exactly the same thing. Keep it consistent and you will be good to go. You can maintain a very constant pace, and it's quick as well around the circuit, and you really need to try and be consistent to manage your tyres and manage the race, of course. Struggling on the curb, but that is just because that is the exit of turn 1. It's super difficult. Nothing to really be worried about there. You've just got to try and manage it as you go through. Maybe you have to take it a bit conservative on the next few laps, but right now Nifo, he should be happy with himself, doing a very good job for a circuit he absolutely despises. If that is an understatement or not, I don't quite know. Zingy, 2.1 seconds now, so the gap isn't changing too much. Even on lap 5 out of 28, Zingy kind of looking like he might be pulling it back. That will be the advantage of a harder tyre compound. You won't be overheating those tyres, of course. With pretty much every tyre, you will reach about 98 to 100, maybe even plus if you haven't tested the setup, degrees Celsius, and the hard tyres can run about 100 degrees, maybe 101 or 2, whereas the mediums and the softs, they can't run that. So usually the hard tyres will be colder anyway, but they can also cope with the hotter temperatures more as well. So Zingy will be in a good position to try and equal everything out. Of course, on the straights, though, you won't really gain that much time. As you can see, all of a sudden, Ruleton has gained so much time in that final sector. So maybe don't ignore what I just said. Ignore it for now, but it will come back later on into this race, of course, when Ruleton's tyres do feel a little bit on the tricky side. Now, from practice, the standard strategy is about lap 12 on that medium tyre, of course, whereas I found that around about lap 8 is when it got really tricky. You can still, of course, extend a lot more. You just have to take it a little bit easy. Now, maybe that was just a skill issue on my side, but that is the research that I was able to do. So lap 12, maybe even going to extend it a bit more. We know Ruleton does like to extend it. Of course, he did that back in Hungary. It didn't quite work out, unfortunately. He still had very good pace and a great opportunity for a podium. But now they're in an even better chance of a podium here, and a possible win is on the cards as well. 2.4 seconds, they really need to utilise these tyres. At the moment, they're doing that with the clean air, no pressure behind, no car right there, just kind of being in your peripheral vision, of course. They're just driving on their own at the moment. You just need to try and, like I said, tunnel vision, focus on yourself, try and get some quali laps done, maybe. And you can just improve a lot. They're taking a wide entry to the right-hander, which isn't what I would expect too much, but it's not unknown, of course. It does help you manage the tyres as well, and it allows you to be just a little bit more confident through the corner, of course. So not unexpected, but also not what I would have thought. Of course, the racing line usually from the esports guys is the middle of the circuit. Heisler, a 3-second time penalty. So not ideal there. That's the first time penalty of the session. But maybe later they can see if everybody else is also struggling. Of course, we saw the sprint race and everybody was having a bit of a hard time with the time penalties. So we'll see. They might not be so much of a disadvantage as we think, because later on it could well change. Zingy, of course, getting a 3 seconds in the sprint race. Didn't affect them in the end, but still, they got that 3 seconds, so they're going to have to be really cautious here in the feature race. Nifo didn't get a time penalty. They weren't close enough to utilise it. Strutt didn't get a time penalty either. So they're in a good position right now. The teammate behind them, they don't have any pressure. No pressure ahead. They're just kind of lapsing at the moment, just trying to go as fast as they possibly can. And unfortunately, that is the nature of this circuit. And with the current times as the game being very broken, lots of drivers aren't racing today, and I do apologise for that. There's nothing I can do. I can do my best, and that's what I've been doing to try and keep everybody together. But other than that, it's up to the game and the drivers to sort everything out. Of course, you can practice as much as you can as well. That will help you prepare for the races. And then, of course, if the game isn't as buggy, it will allow the drivers to be a lot more motivated and actually allow for fair racing as well. So at the moment, there's two factors which are really affecting league racing. But enough said about that one. We can still have a good race, no matter what, of course. It's still very interesting with the strategy, with the consistency, with the mentality that you have to have around a circuit like this. So yeah, the tyre temps are going to be absolutely through the roof. Nifo gains half a second on Zingy recently, so Zingy's made a bit of a mistake there. Heisler retires from the session in the pit lane, so they've given up. That does now mean we have 6 drivers remaining of this race. So it's guaranteed points there for Heisler. Gone. Guaranteed points there for Luke. Gone. All gone. None to the championship. They're going to be, losing out a lot here today, of course, as it is a sprint race as well. They will lose even more than they thought. Nifo, he could gain a bit here. It's possible. Actually, EagerPro right behind Quibus, as they actually are now ahead of Quibus making the move on the straight there. Didn't see that one coming, but they've got it done side by side as they try and go through the third sector, trying to outbrake themselves as much as they possibly can to try and get back ahead of the Aston. They do manage to have the upper hand here. Will a switchback be available for EagerPro? I don't quite know. Both of these guys struggling on the rear end a little bit, but at the moment they're just trying to keep it consistent. Mistake there as they go wide. EagerPro will have a look to the inside. They will send it to the inside as Quibus has to leave the space, and now EagerPro is going to get the DRS. They will get another opportunity into turn 1. Quibus actually gets the better run, but here we go. EagerPro to the inside line. It's not really going to be contested too much. They have the inside line, but no, it will be contested as Quibus tries to hold it to the outside. Now they have the inside. EagerPro, let's go. They're going to get the DRS on the next lap and just let Quibus maintain this position. Lovely battling right now, and at this stage of the race as well, when the tyres are getting slightly more worn out. No, we've still got a long way to go on these hards, but still just a little bit worn out. They're going to be careful with them, of course. But now EagerPro will get another opportunity here. Quibus trying his best to hold on. They have lost a lot of time to their teammate up ahead. So their teammate coming straight in out of the bat, taking a podium in the sprint race, and now looking to try and beat their teammate in the feature. EagerPro not half heat with the ERS at the moment. Their energy levels are pretty low. Quibus once again will have the disadvantage into the sector. EagerPro leaves the space, interestingly, so Quibus is automatically going to stick his nose back in and try and fight this back. So, yeah, interesting strategy there for EagerPro. He'll now have the inside line. He has the advantage at the moment, and Quibus will have to probably back out, but no, Quibus is going to get a good run. Very good exit. A switchback is available, and a switchback of dreams. Is it going to be possible there for EagerPro? He has the outside line. Quibus on the inside gets pushed off the circuit. Does EagerPro? Has to wait, has to give the position up. He's not going to be happy about that one. Quibus pushing him off a little bit too much there. Not ideal, but EagerPro will have once again another opportunity into turn one. Quibus, are they just going to have to let this one go as EagerPro goes slightly deeper? As they say, if you're going to do that to me, I'm going to do that. And they've managed to make it through. Bit of a mistake on the rear there for Quibus as he has to let it go after that one. Just a bit squirmy. And yeah, EagerPro does get through after that. Now, I'm trying to look back here as Quibus is struggling on that rear a lot right now, really sliding through the corners. So, not having the best of time on these hard tyres. Now, EagerPro could be challenged here. ERS is pretty low for both drivers. DRS will be available for the Haas. Interestingly, off the circuit there, managing to get it together. DRS available, no ERS, it's just about straight line speed here. EagerPro has the inside line, but no, still further inside goes Quibus as EagerPro's going to try their best to hold on. They do have the advantage here. Quibus goes to the outside, brakes us once again as late as they possibly can to try and stick their nose in. EagerPro has the advantage, but to the inside they will go once again and not allowing EagerPro to get the switchback. Very, very well done there for Quibus. Awesome stuff. Getting that move done and then slowly squeezing him out just legally. This time, not like he did on the last few laps. So good stuff from these guys right now. Hard, but just about fair racing between the two, of course. Alrighty. Ruleton now starting to lose a bit of time to Zingy. Zingy's slowly catching up at this stage of the race. Lap 11, we're one lap away from the predicted pit stop window. Not saying that it will be that lap to pit, of course, but it's around about lap 12. Is that what we will pit? Maybe even at the end of this lap is possible. Zingy will start to catch up. He'll know that, although with the gap that Ruleton has, he could in theory use this to his advantage and try and stay out, although he doesn't really have much of a reason to, unless he wants to try and wait for maybe a possible safety car, which is very unlikely at this stage of the race. But that is what is going on right now. EagerPro will get once again another opportunity to try and catch back up to Quibus. Will he be able to get a move into the braking zone? Yes, he will. As he goes to the inside. Bit of a dummy there. Lovely stuff. Onto the inside line. Breaks a lot later to Quibus. Quibus will get a lovely run. They'll have the outside line. They're still going to have to give the space. They don't get the move done. Bit of a wheel bang. Nothing to worry about too much as he once again has the inside line. Going to try and squeeze them a bit closer side by side, but they have to back off, go around the bollards, and they will rejoin the circuit. Fair racing between these two. Very hard, but just about fair. Lovely stuff. As long as they keep it clean, they'll be good to go. Quibus really struggling for that penultimate corner there on the exit, going extremely wide, losing themselves a lot of time. EagerPro is able to capitalise on that. He will now get a possible opportunity into turn one. He'll have to send it if he wants to get it done, and he will send it. He's up ahead as, oh no, Quibus makes a mistake after all of that as they go onto the curb, bottom out, and they can't get back on the throttle. They have to let it go, and that is Quibus losing the position after all. EagerPro runs away into the distance, and the battle has come to an end. It was an epic one. It was an epic one. Quibus will unfortunately lose out to that. They might have another opportunity. They tried to actually dummy EagerPro to go into the pit lane. For the hard tyres, it's not time to pit. So I don't think they were going to actually fake anybody by doing so. But it was still worth a shot, of course, with the mind games. Now, 3.4 seconds behind. They do have a bit of work to do if they want to get back into this battle. I do believe in Quibus, though. Ruleton leading the way. Could this be the pit stop time? It's what is expected. Will they follow? No, they will not. They're going to extend once again. 1.6 seconds is the gap. Zingy is catching significantly right now. So, he's got to hope, Ruleton, that Zingy doesn't get that DRS onto the back straight. He might end up getting it onto the next up finish straight, but I think that will be when Ruleton decides to pit. He's extending one extra lap here. Watch the gap that Zingy has as we go into the S section. 0.6. As we leave the S section, it is almost a 0.4. Just about a 0.5. So he's gained about a tenth for the S section here. Up the hill we go. Ruleton gains it back, but all of a sudden Zingy's got that 4/10 after all. So really, really good stuff here. Prix does actually go into the pit lane. Going to go for an early pit stop onto that medium tyre. Not impossible, but it's a bit of a interesting time to go into the pit lane, I will say. Zingy gains a lot. He gains about 2-3 tenths there on to the back of Ruleton. Loses it on the straight as Ruleton is either very good in a straight line or pushing. We saw they're very good in a straight line back in Hungary, of course. So maybe it is another bit of that. But at the moment, just before the pit stops, it's not uncommon to push at this stage of the race. Now, we have Ruleton looking for a pit stop. Surely it's going to happen this lap. Surely it's going to happen this lap. Into the pits they go. They will finally make that stop as we expected onto that medium tyre, braking before the board. No time penalty there. Lovely stuff. Zingy is released into clean air. Niffo also, but that is a fairly big gap that he has to Zingy right now. Ruleton will exit the pits ahead of Stra, but no, ahead of Egapro, but behind Stra, I should say. DLs will be available for them if they can catch up to the hard tyre runners, but I don't know if they will. It won't take it will take a lap or two to actually warm up the tyres now they are on the hards. Egapro will be able to catch up a little bit, but not massively. It's not really going to be that significant with a 6-second gap, of course. I don't think they would gain 6 seconds to be able to trouble Ruleton, although he is clearly struggling with these cold tyres through the S section. That is the nature of this circuit, unfortunately, but they will be able to get a bit of an undercut compared to Zingy, of course. Zingy inherits the lead, and they will lead their first lap of the race for the first time this race. Of course, they didn't lead on the end of lap 1, so they haven't led a full lap yet. Ruleton has led the way so far. Zingy will have just a few more corners, and he will have led that first lap of his race today in the feature race. Clean air at the moment. It was pretty clean up ahead beforehand, but it's even cleaner now, of course, and they don't have any distraction up ahead. They don't have an orange car that they're trying to aim for at the moment. They just need to focus on themselves, focus on that clock, and go as fast as they can. They have every confidence in their strategy. They just need to execute it. That's all. That is all. Niffo in a very similar position to Zingy as well. They just need to try and execute this as well. They're going to be in a very good position to have a look at a P2, if not a P3 at the moment. Stra could gain here, but with Ruleton approaching, it might not be as easy as expected, of course. That is the race leader, by the way, in P4, the provisional race leader. So lap 15 out of 28. They pitted. So let's say the predicted pit stop, of course. So we have about 16 laps on the hard tyres. Is that right? 16 plus 12? Yeah, 20. Yeah, 28. So about 16, 17 laps on the hards is what we will go to. These guys might want to extend a little bit more on their hard tyre stint to try and give themselves a bit more pace towards the end. But I don't know, it might not be worth it. It might not be worth it. I reckon maybe maybe 2 laps, because, you know, Zingy got that good data as they saw that they were starting to catch Ruleton at the ends there on the last few laps. So maybe they'll want to extend by 2 laps. That might be an idea. If they can just get that 2 laps to give them a slight advantage later on, that would be a good idea. But, you know, I am not Zingy, and he's decided to go completely against that and go straight into the pit lane. Nifo will react and stay out ahead of Zingy. They're going to go into the pit lane. This isn't strange to do so. I just thought they would have probably wanted to wait a little bit more. They're going to minimize the undercut from Ruleton, however. That will put pressure on Ruleton. You can see very, very close between the two. It was a, I'd say, somewhat nice undercut. Zingy will have to try and warm up the tyres here, but Zingy will also catch up very, very quickly, very, very soon. They'll have a lot of energy to use. They have been spending the last few laps just saving at the moment, relaxing, of course, the mid part of the race. Now we're past the mid part of the race, and Zingy will just need to try and get past. They're already within DRS range of Ruleton, so they're already going to look at a move here. Even straight or out of the exit. They just need to get a smooth throttle application, DRS, spam that ERS. They might have a move here into the hairpin. Nope, they're going to have to wait for this lap. Not close enough yet. Ruleton is a rocket in a straight line. Not in the braking zone, though. Pretty rusty in the braking zone. Would we see a send here from Zingy? He has a quick look to try and pressure Ruleton into a mistake. Might have a look here as Ruleton does go defensive, but it wasn't enough as Zingy will take that inside line, and he's made the move already. Ruleton will not be able to challenge. The hard sides will not have it in them, and Zingy, what a job. Running out of ERS already though, so Ruleton could hold on here into the final few corners. He'll be able to get a nice advantage here on the DRS straight, but I don't think it's going to be that much of an advantage. Zingy, of course, he doesn't have any ERS, but look at the straight. It's not long enough to actually really cause any problems for Zingy. Nifo into the pit lane. Everybody else has already passed turn 1 as they exit the pit straight. Now, they're going to be absolutely rapid. At the moment, Ruleton, he just has to focus on time loss reduction. They have to make sure that the damage limitation is there, but no, as I speak about that, it doesn't happen. It's the opposite of what they want, as they go and get themselves a time penalty. Ruleton is going to be in great trouble here. Nifo has a very good chance at a P2. They just need to have that tyre, need to manage it, keep consistent. They will naturally catch up to Ruleton, and they need to try and calculate that move, minimise the battling that they have with the McLaren, because towards the end of the stint, their tyres will start to die. I have to admit it. So Nifo, he has to take that into consideration. Warming up the tyres on the straight already to try and make sure he can get them up to operating temperature straight away and work on catching the McLaren up ahead. Alrighty. We've got Quibus and Egapro. I didn't realise these guys are back at it again. Sending it to the inside goes Quibus. Lovely, lovely stuff. Don't know how long this has been going on for. Egapro will return the favour. Back to the inside line. There's contact as almost zero. Egapro going off, and also Quibus once again so twitchy on the rear. No ERS for Quibus at the moment. They're just having to wait with the flashing light they have, of course. They're going to get a nice opportunity, Igor, on the DRS straight. Once again, these guys having a very, very good battle at the moment. It's what we like to see, especially in the middle of a USA Grand Prix. How about that? I didn't expect to say that. As they go to the inside line just about. Weaver's going to break early, try and get the switch back, and they will. What a move! What a move! Egapro has to go off the circuit just a little bit, but what a move there for Quibus. He absolutely demolished that. Well done to Quibus. He read it like a book, and Egapro got absolutely fooled. He thought that Quibus was the fool, but he was a fool for thinking that. There's a lot of fools involved in that sentence. No one's a fool here. They're just absolutely epic as they're giving us a lovely, lovely show. As Eager Pro is confident on the brakes at the moment. Quibus is very rapid but twitchy on that rear, so they just have to keep it careful. DRS available now for Eager Pro. It seems to be that Quibus does have the lower downforce setup, because that's why they are struggling so much in that penultimate corner. Once again, to the inside line, as Quibus doesn't really defend hard enough. They still have the outside momentum to then once again go to the inside. The nature of the circuit, you can kind of send it through here. Bit of a mistake, and luckily no contact between the two. He'll still try and have a look at descend, but way too far back after a twitchy mistake, and Quibus has to try and recover here and get back to Eager Pro, otherwise they're going to lose the battle. Nifo catches up now from 7 to 5 seconds. They're absolutely rapid compared to Ruleton. Oh no, and that's Ruleton round! Ruleton is round! Didn't need to make the overtake after all! The hard tyres haven't worked for Ruleton, and they are struggling. The later stage of this race, I do not believe it. Ruleton loses that P2 after all, and if they're not careful, they could lose this to Stroll as well. Stroll's going to be on that medium tyre, 8 seconds behind. Ruleton's in trouble here, with the time penalty as well. All that Stroll needs to do is sit within 3 seconds of Ruleton. They could be in big, big trouble here. Quibus also in big trouble. They've almost lost DRS range. They will catch back up. So good news for them that they can get back into this with the DRS. They do maintain it. The DRS just on the exit of turn 10, I believe. Now they'll catch up a bit here. But Eager Pro, he is commanding this so far, so good job from him. Zingy now leads the way with no competition whatsoever. Ruleton might have been able to fight back, of course, with that tyre wear issue, but now being, it's like 12 seconds back now. There's no contest. He just has to maintain this gap, and with not too many laps to go, he can also relax, because even if he lost like half a second a lap to Nifo, he would still win this race. Nifo at the moment is looking at a very strong P2. They don't really need to worry about Ruleton. Of course, Ruleton's had that spin, which has caused them to get a bit of extra tyre wear, of course, on those tyres. They've also got that time penalty. So at the moment, Ruleton has to focus their change their focus towards the car behind now, and hope that they don't catch enough here. An 8.4 second gap, which is in theory a 5.5 second gap at the moment, of course, with that 3 second time penalty. We're going to have a quick double check of those time penalties, as it is, yes, a 3 second for Ruleton and Eager Pro, and a 9 second for Quibus. So Quibus struggling, as they also do lose a lot of time, unfortunately, to Eager Pro. So Quibus, so quick, so good, but their tyres, they're just wearing out way too much. The tyre temps maybe are a problem here. Very twitchy. That's what we saw with Dave Raptors back in the summer season. They were so twitchy. They're absolutely rapid for the first few laps, but the car just died. The car couldn't cope with the setup, and that's not a driver skill. It's just the way they've set up the car according to the circuit. So Quibus, from podium last weekend, now struggling in P6 at the moment. I say struggling to get the car in a rhythm. But Quibus, a very good driver. This race isn't showing off their true pace, their outright pace, but their driving skills side by side with Eager Pro. That is what we love to see. Some very hard but fair racing between the two. Legendary stuff between these guys. And yeah, thank you to them for putting on a great show so far. Lap 21 out of 28. We're coming to the closing stages of this Grand Prix. Not too much further to go, as that is Quibus taking it to a pit. 10-second time penalty as they cut it way too sharply. And unfortunately, that's going to cause them, well, not really going to cause them many issues for the cars behind. They're going to go for a set of softs, I assume, to try and set a couple fastest laps here. So at the moment, they realise this is Vale. They are disconnected, so at the moment, Quibus has nothing to lose here by doing this, especially with a 9-second time penalty and the 10-second as well. So a 19-second time penalty. At the moment, they just have to make sure that they try and get a fastest lap here, and that will be an extra point on the board. I think he leads the way now by a 10-second gap, so he further extends it despite being on the older tyres. So he's not exactly relaxing. Nifo, maybe they're relaxing actually. I don't quite know, but they don't need to push. Nifo, once again, really, really good. They said they hate this track, but they're doing a really good job here. So, yeah, they should be very proud of this one. Ruleton, such a legendary drive so far, but unfortunately, just a couple of laps ago, it didn't quite look that way. One mistake, which was extremely major, which has now cost any chance of fighting for the win, and every chance at a P2 as well. Maybe they can try and catch back up. They're not that far away, but I don't know if the tyres would drop off that much. And well, obviously as well, Nifo did extend their hard tyre stint, which will give them the advantage later on into this race. So it's looking even less likely for Ruleton to have a look at this P2 here. However, a plus side for them, Strat isn't exactly catching up, so they will still look at securing a P3. Strat took a podium in the sprint race, looking for a P4 in the feature race. I'd say this is a pretty good race to have a debut on. A circuit like this, and with a grid like this and no safety cars being deployed, it doesn't look as good as it actually is. It is very good for Strat, so well done to them on that medium tyre, just trying to keep it consistent. So yeah, thank you to these guys who are putting on a great show and racing today at one of the most difficult tracks of all. Personally, I like it. It's a nice flowing track, and when you do get it right, it's very flowing and very nice to drive. When you don't get it right, it's extremely difficult and frustrating as well. But in a race, if you can get into a rhythm, then you're going to be good to go. Eager Pro looking a solid P5 here. They've got a 3 seconds, so it's going to be difficult to Stroll. Stroll's very good with those time penalties, it seems, and also a 17-second gap isn't exactly ideal for Eager Pro. But still, 10 points on the board would be great for the championship and great for Aston. Only one driver for Aston in the last 2 races. That's not a dig at anyone. It's just what has gone on so far. So good championship points right here, which could help them a lot later on. We are at round 8, so about halfway into the season now. Only another half left. Time does fly. So we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. Zingy will lead the way in the championship. Another time penalty as we speak for Eager Pro, unfortunately. At the moment, he doesn't have to worry about it, though. It's not really going to affect him too much. He just has to keep it clean. He might want to have a go at fastest lap a little bit later on. It could be possible. Quibus goes and sets it as we speak as well. 36.008. Lap 23 out of 28. Zingy leads the way as we start lap 24 of the 28. 5 laps remaining of this race. Nifo and AlphaTauri looking for a good job. And Ruleton as well on the podium. Looking for the same podium that we went and had when we crossed the line, at least for Singapore. Just a slightly different order. Quibus getting another 3 seconds as he tries his best to push the limits. I'm not sure, maybe they'll have another go at a fastest lap if they can pit again. I don't know if they would want to do that. But yeah, it's possible. Even though they're a little bit further behind the rest of the grid, it's still good data, good practice to get these laps in, of course. You can learn a lot, even if you have nobody around you. There's definitely not a bad thing, these races. Stroll does get a time penalty, unfortunately, but still, lap 24 out of 28, it's pretty good going. Around a circuit like this, of course, as well, where you have to preempt some of the turn-ins of the corners, and that does make it extremely easy to get time penalties. Zingy extending this to a 10.9 second gap now. He now makes this an 11-second gap, so really powering on right now. Nifo and Ruleton not really being given a chance, going a little bit wide over the track limits. Nothing to worry about too much. But still, Zingy, whoopsie, as we speak, maybe struggling on these tyres as they come towards the final stages of their life. But they shouldn't need to worry too much. Alrighty, the Mercedes looking to try and extend not only the drivers but the Constructors' Championship lead as well by taking a lovely, over 25 points this weekend, of course. 25, not 25 points, 20 points for the feature race, and that would be then, of course, the win for the sprints. That would be 28 points for Zingy if they cross the line here. Quibus gets another 3 second, unfortunately just struggling with the track limits, but still, the bad races makes the good ones a lot sweeter. And also, as I said, all the data is good data. Good practice. Zingy into the braking zone. Let's just watch on board as we go through the middle part of the, or the third part of the sector, I should say. Very technical, but just trying to keep it smooth as possible. You can still see that they are struggling a little bit on the rear. I think everybody's having that. It's just about who can manage it the best. That's all. Now, there's going to be a lift. There you go. You can see the engine revs do drop just a little bit. Then they get back onto the throttle around about the midpoint of the corner and all the way to the end. So, yeah, Zingy, even though he's leading the race, he is struggling with the tyres a little bit, just trying to manage them. It's no stranger. It's just how well you deal with it at this stage. I think you're doing a great job. Nifo also doing a great job with this. Going to look for some very strong points this weekend. Ruleton as well. It's just not what they wanted. I know it's not what they wanted. They do lose time to Nifo, like 26 out of 28. So that podium is extremely difficult to reach at the moment. Unless Nifo made a mistake, they would be able to get it. Strat, right now, not close enough to have a move either, especially with that time penalty. They've actually lost quite a few seconds. Then we have the other Serbian, Aviga Pro, of course, in P5 at the moment. They're just trying to plod the laps in. We've got Quibus, who is exiting the pit lane once again. They are actually a lap down, so they're only going to get one lap to actually set this fastest lap. They've got to keep that into consideration as they struggle a little bit on the exit, but they're going to get one lap to set this lap. It says they're actually on lap 25, but no, they're going to get 2 laps. They're going to get this lap, the next lap, and then the lap after that, so they get 2 laps. They're going to try and go for another fastest lap, although if they're not careful, the game will disqualify them, so they've got to be cautious on the track limits. Otherwise, they could end up scoring no points at all. Zingy on lap 27 out of 28 at the moment. On the penultimate lap, he's just relaxing at this stage, getting that car home. No risk needed at the moment. He's just got to hope that there's no punctures. I didn't really consider it. Of course, with a circuit like this, you have to go pretty low on the tyre pressures to try and maintain that tyre temperature, of course, which does make it extremely difficult because the tyres will therefore wear a lot more. So that will increase it. Like I said, about lap 8, I had 35% tyre wear on the medium tyre. So take that as you will. Of course, you wouldn't, if you do the maths, you wouldn't get towards the tyre puncture range by even 16 laps. But you know what I mean. It's going to be extremely difficult to manage these tyres. But so far, really good job. And he's about to start the final lap of the race. Nifo in P2. A great effort. Whoopsie on the curb. But nothing too much to worry about. They just got to keep it consistent as they are slowly losing a little bit of time to Ruleton. But as I said, nothing to worry about. There's a 3-second gap, and that is enough to just relax and secure the position. Quibus does get another 3 seconds. If they're not careful, they will be disqualified by the game, trying their best to get another fastest lap in, although it doesn't really need, they don't really need to worry that much, although actually, I say that, Pro is on for a fastest lap here. They are looking for a fastest lap, so they could be in trouble. Pro has one more lap to set this. Of course, Zingy has started the last lap, as that's why it does say lap 28 out of 28. So Pro going to try and challenge here. Quibus has to be careful. They do have to be careful. Zingy got a final few sectors to go. Just 2 more left of this race, and they will look at a phenomenal victory. Domination in the sprint and domination in the feature. Even more so, of course, as well. Very good few races for Zingy in the recent times. Of course, that's going to be 3 on the bounce. As long as they complete this final lap. And, of course, a sprint race to add to that extra, which is just a little bit sweeter as well. Almost like a box of chocolates. Now, ooh, 3 seconds there for Zingy. He just goes slightly over the curb. Just a bit of a celebration, but nothing to worry about too much at all. Pro going to try and push for the fastest lap on this final lap right here. We'll see who will get it, Quibus or Pro. Quibus makes a mistake, so Pro will be the only one to challenge. We're going to look at this guy, though, as Zingy comes around the final few corners. What a legend. I knew he was going to be strong around a circuit like this, but I didn't realise it was going to be this strong. Round the final corner, and Zingy wins for the 3rd time in a row, the 3rd time this season, and a lovely burn up of the rear tyres as he crosses the line to celebrate. He wins the USA Grand Prix. Nifo will take the P2 in the end. Great effort, and Rouleton will finish eventually in P3 there. Lovely stuff indeed for the top 3. And then we have Strat, who will take a P4 on debut. That is a decent amount of points. Lovely stuff for them. Pro looking for the fastest lap, really cutting that corner as much as they could there, pushing the absolute limits. They have trust in the tyre at the moment. Of course, it's a very, very new tyre, so they should have all the focus and all the confidence, I should say. But purple middle sector there for Pro, as they have Quibus up ahead. Unfortunately, who's not going to be able to challenge. Pro will come round the final few corners. It's going to look like a fastest lap. Just got one more to confirm it. Here we go, across the line. Is it going to be possible? And lovely stuff. A 34.8 there. Quibus tried his best, but it wasn't enough. And that will be Zingy taking the win for the USA Grand Prix. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. We've done it. We got through the USA Grand Prix. Well done. I'm proud of everyone. All the drivers, all the viewers, thank you very much. Pro takes driver of the day. Great job from them as well, I should say. So yeah, not undeserved there. Very worthy of that one. Zingy takes the win though. What a legend to date. Lost it on the first laps on both the sprint and feature, but it wasn't phased. He wasn't phased by it at all. What a legend. Zingy wins the USA Grand Prix, Nifo in P2, and then we have Rouleton taking the P3. Followed by, of course, Strat in P4. Pro takes the P5. This is Vale disconnected with Quibus taking the P6 after all that. DNFing with Heisler, Luke and Robbo, unfortunately, later on in the race, of course. We're going to skim through the race director just in case we need to afterwards. And then, of course, we'll be back for the post-show interviews, just getting through the pit stop section, and we'll be back. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome back to the LSI F1 Championship. We're today for the post-race interviews of the USA Grand Prix. We start the interviews with Aisla. Aisla, it wasn't ideal. Yeah, what happened there? Retired earlier than expected.
Well, yeah, like I said in earlier interviews, I was practicing quota for PSGL, but yeah, it was only short quali practice I had to do. So didn't really do long runs, and I need to do long runs to be able to not spin. Yeah, that's it, pretty much.
So was it tyre pressures, do you think?
No, definitely not. The tire temps were fine.
Okay, fair enough.
I have to say, sometimes the game mechanics were weird as well, but yeah, I have to accept that.
Yeah, I agree. The circuit is pretty difficult. So, yeah, no surprise. The next circuit is, I believe,
Yeah, it is. It is.
Mexico. All right. Do you like that circuit?
Well, when I used a lot of assist and end line, I enjoyed the track. I didn't really use it or drive that much without, but yeah, I do like it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, high hopes, of course, with this race not going quite to plan.
Yeah, I will have a lot of more practice for Mexico.
Awesome, awesome. Can't wait. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Spin. Spin. Oh, and spin.
GG, well done today. Great effort. It's a shame it didn't go quite the way, but yeah, thank you very much.
It is.
It is what it is. Alrighty, we move on to Nifo. Nifo, I know you didn't like the circuit, but you still happy with that result? It's not too bad at all.
Not really. I mean, if you look at the quali, fucking invalidate it, then in the sprint spun, and then in the race just got lucky again, like always, and I was horrible. I was off the pace so much, making mistakes every fucking lap. Like I was a second a lap slower at some point, so yeah, it wasn't great.
Kimi Raikkonen style race, then I guess maybe. Not
Close.
disappointed with a P2. No. Anyway, Mexico. Do you prefer the circuit? I think yes, over USA.
For it, but I'll probably be off the pace or spinning again, so it doesn't really matter that much which circuit we go to, but I'll try.
Yeah, still great effort today. You should be happy with what you did. You know, great points. So well done. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Too damn slow.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. And we move on to Ruleton. Ruleton, it was looking good on the start. Unfortunately, didn't go quite to plan. You struggling on the hards, maybe?
Yeah, kinda. The setup wasn't really ideal. I probably should have put a bit more wing in it because I had understeer and oversteer. But I know I didn't had the pace against Siggy, so I had to try something else than just hard to medium. But that didn't really work out with the medium hards because yeah, it was so hard to warm up the hards. So that Siggy, I didn't even get the undercut.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I spun on the hards just from pushing too hard and going over the curb in the next section.
Do you think if that spin didn't happen, you might have been able to bring it back later on?
Not on Singy, but I think I would have able to got Nifo. I think we had similar pace. He didn't have the penalty, of course, but I also made quite a lot of like small mistakes when I was behind him. So if I put those aside, I probably could have got P2. But yeah,
Good potential then. Mexico. It's another circuit that's quite difficult for track limits. Do you think?
Yeah.
Or do you prefer the circuit over USA? Maybe.
I loved it back in 2021. I haven't driven it as much here, but I think I like it quite a lot. And I knew from 2021 I was really quicker on this, so I'm hoping to maybe get a win.
It's good news because lots of people don't really like it, and lots of people don't even go to practice it. So if you can get the advantage there, you're going to be in a good position. So yeah, I like that energy. Well done today. One last question: how would you describe your race in 3 words?
Strategy didn't work.
No worries. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. And we move on to Zingy, the race winner. Well done today. You won the sprint. You won the feature race. I bet you're loving that one.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I had to start, got to P1 after like a couple of laps, and Luke seemed to struggle in the dirtier, so I was like, I'm just going to try and push quite hard, and I pulled away, obviously won the sprint race. And then in the actual race, I done the alternate one, the preferred strategy. Roller tournament for the alternate strategy. To be fair to him, he was very quick, so I got to lend it to him. And then I done the undercut on the full and gained a lot of time. And then just overtook Rotor and just managed to get from there. So yeah, it sounds simple, but in a way I was stressing so much during that first stint.
Yeah, it's a difficult circuit, but I knew that you're pretty good on the throttle. You're very you like to go slow in, fast out. So I knew you're going to be pretty good around this circuit, but you're even better than I thought. So well done. There was a couple of moments that might have been struggling on the tyres. We might not have seen on stream, but
okay.
Still, everybody was in the same boat. But you managed to manage it the best out of everyone. So well done today. Mexico, the S section isn't ideal for controller, but if Japan is anything to go by, do you think you can get another win 4 in a row?
Well, I think personally Japan's a harder track to master in terms of the controller than Mexico due to the undulating movement of the corners. So I think Mexico could be an easier one for me, not in terms of saying I'm going to win, but for driving sakes at least, I reckon I can get a good enough pace to be fighting definitely at the front again.
Awesome. Well done. We've got hashtag get Zingy a wheel. Lovely stuff in the chat. Thank you very much, Zingy. Really well done today. Very well deserved. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Traction, Mercedes. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today. And that has been the LSI F1 Championship. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow for the F1.5 Championships. We'll be back on Tuesday for the practice lobbies, and we'll be back next week for the Mexican Grand Prix. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.